Nobody's buying Copilot Plus for the AI. Despite Microsoft and Qualcomm's heavy marketing focus on AI features, most consumers buying Copilot Plus laptops appear to be buying them for their competitive battery life. Users also don't find these laptops' exclusive AI features like Co-Creator, Windows Studio Effects, and live captions with translation useful on a day-to-day basis. Further, many popular applications like Adobe have simply decided not to adjust their AI features so they run locally, as the vast majority of PCs sold this year will not be able to run those types of things on device anyways, so you'd be doing a bunch of development for a very small portion of users.
Yep.
Womp womp. AI stuff is interesting. AI stuff is quite powerful.
Yes.
And
it's cool.
And it's not necessarily beneficial when you just force feed it into every single thing that you make. And
the bigger issue for me is just that it's not integrated into most things. If that kind of makes sense. Like I can AI track separation. Like some of the demos that Qualcomm is doing around these Copilot Plus PCs, legitimately super cool. That track isolation DJ thing, that's awesome.
Pretty wild.
For whoever is doing their DJ work on a laptop and whoever uses that specific piece of software and whoever doesn't have access to a cleaner non-AI way of isolating that track. So we're just looking at a very, very small subset of users. And you know what? Once that is more broadly supported in applications that people are going to use, which is only going to happen once every device can support it, I could see that being part of someone's flow, and like an average user's flow. And when I say average user, I don't mean everybody. I mean an average user who would need to do that. So let's say I'm a street performer. Okay, I do performances of mainstream music at a train station, and I play the guitar track myself. Okay, super cool. I can rip the guitar in real time, essentially, out of any track that I want, and, infringement aside,
yeah,
that's super convenient.
Yeah.
But until it's broadly supported on hardware, you're not going to get broad software support. And until it's broadly supported in software, you're not really going to get any kind of market penetration. So it's a really cool demo right now, but I just don't see it. I don't see it moving the needle. Honestly, though, the bigger thing for me, the reason that I highlighted this topic for the doc in the first place, was that I just don't see how, after Qualcomm spent so much time talking about what a key point it was for Snapdragon X, that they had excellent battery life, that it was a surprise to them. That was number one. That was the most important thing. I mean, everything about this platform that we've looked at has been something but battery life. Okay, the performance is solid except when it's not, but battery life.
Yeah.
Compatibility is a lot better, but is still spotty. But battery life.
How does the battery life compare to a Mac?
Solid.
Okay. I was going to say, that's the real fight here.
It's finally good. Yes.
Does it go to sleep?
Okay, that... Unfortunately, there's no, meaningful way to conclusively test that.
And it can be really inconsistent. Like one laptop could and the other one wouldn't. So this will be we'll have to see with saturation.
And the same laptop might sleep perfectly today, and then on Saturday I put it in my backpack, and on Monday it's a furnace in there, and I take it out and the battery's dead. And I don't know.
Yeah, fair enough.
Very, very frustrating. But everything we've talked about with this platform has been there's compromises, but the battery life. And I think that something that... Here, hold on a second. Are we... oh my goodness. This is really embarrassing. Someone made a video about our Snapdragon video, and I forget their name. Okay, anyway. Yeah. Anyway, the point that I was trying to make is that when we talked about the platform, for us, the battery life was a major focus, because the vast majority of the time that people are using their computers, they're doing something extremely light. And essentially what we want to know is how much of a drain is the processor when you can't turn the screen off. You can't turn the wireless connectivity off. Like how much is that just having the system powered on affected by the idle power consumption of the processor in it? And as it turns out, on these devices, it's really, really good. And everything else is usable enough. I mean, it's not perfect. When we did our game stream, we went through, I think somewhere between 30 and 40 games, I think. We made it through a lot of games. This is a long stream. It's like 3 or 4 hours. But we made it through a lot of games.
Did they
Oh,
all work?
no. Heavens, no. Now, some we knew weren't going to work, but there were lots of others that were broken in creative ways. There was one where Spider-Man, the hair physics were just wild. Every hair on only better modeled characters, like main characters, was like sticking out and like physicsing around like this. Like it was hilarious.
It's kind of fun.
That was pretty awesome. But our perspective on this product was that we understand that it's first gen. We understand what people are buying it for, and no, we don't think that people are buying it to architect a building,
whatever. Yeah.
We don't think that people are buying it to use specialized applications on it. We think that people are buying it to essentially do most of what they do in a web browser and get really, really great battery life out of it. And in that context, it's a major success. And honestly, I think some of the negative discourse around the Snapdragon X launch has been from Qualcomm just overpromising.
Yeah.
They should have just said, compatibility is still a challenge.
Headstrong. Like really headstrong.
Too much.
Yeah.
And I do understand why they were confident. It's a good product. But just just letting other people beat the drum of positivity would have been better than doing it themselves. That's, I think, the big mistake that they made, if I could identify one.
At risk of sounding too positive to Apple, I think people were maybe a little bit more hopeful about this launch because the M series, like MacBooks, that launch went so well.
It had issues.
Yeah.
But it was really smooth.
It was really smooth.
But the expectations are so different.
What I'm saying is I think that set the expectations higher.
Oh, I just mean the expectations of a Mac user are so different. Like, I could do a lot of what I need to do on a Mac by never stepping outside of first-party Apple software.
Yeah.
And so that's it's a really different ecosystem. And I use that word in a non-disparaging way. It's a very different ecosystem than what exists on Windows, where you've got all these disparate developers and you've got all these kind of eras during which their applications were created, all these expectations of support across different hardware. It's a real challenge. Honestly, the fact, maybe that's part of it too for me, is the fact that it's as good as it is, I'm just really impressed.
Right.
Because I didn't hope that Windows on ARM would ever gain traction. But it's very clear that it's happening now.
I'm still holding out hope that framework RISC processor laptop is going to be sick.
We've got a really long topic kind of on the call out on our Snapdragon X Elite video, and honestly, I'm kind of looking at a lot of it going like, I don't think we need to delve into this.
Just go read the comment.
Yeah, there's we published a full response on the video, which has been posted on a couple of subreddits, including our own. You guys can go check it out there. But there is some discussion here. Some of the discussion is like, how much testing is enough to come to a conclusion? I wanted to include more in the video, but the reason that we didn't include more was because the methodology wouldn't have been up to our standards. There were things that we tested that we didn't include because they weren't repeatable enough, and it's a brand new platform, and that comes with challenges. So the discussion question here is like, should we include janky testing in our review videos if we disclaim them as such? Like one of the things that I was upset about when I arrived on set, because this was a rare video that, because of other obligations, was mostly worked on by other members of the team. Usually I'm pretty deeply involved. But on this one, I arrived on set after having had conversations about how we were going to do it, and I discovered that we hadn't followed through on any kind of thermal testing. And the answer that was given to me was, well, we don't have reliable diode data. And I kind of went, well, what I would have liked to see is at least, a thermal camera pointed at a tape strip across, two price comparable, performance comparable notebooks from Qualcomm and Intel or AMD, where we kind of look at, surface temperature. Make it meaningful to me, the user, even if we can't draw a conclusion about exactly what the thermal draw is, or what the power draw is, and therefore the thermal output. And that was something that, there was some debate about. By then it was sort of, too late to do much more than, just a mention, if anything. But, that's something that maybe we need to philosophically re-examine. Like, are we willing to do kind of janky tests as long as we say, like, look, this is what they are? And I see it both ways. Like, going back to the roots of LTT, I don't know if you remember this video. I'm pretty sure we worked on it together. But there was this screen protector film, like a paint-on screen protector that claimed to create like a nano coating over the glass that made it scratch-proof, even though you painted it on. And the test that we came up with...
wasn't it like dragging it behind your bike?
Yeah, I dragged it down the street with the screen facing down on the phone behind my motorcycle.
I'm pretty sure I'm running after you with a camera or something.
Yeah. And you know what? That's not scientific at all. But what was cool was we were able to pick it up and kind of scratch at the thing and go, oh yeah, there is a coating on here, even though we couldn't see it. And it's something. But we've also kind of evolved beyond that. And I can see the argument the other way, that if we can't stand behind it, especially in light of how much scrutiny there has been on us, if we can't stand behind it 100%, are we better off saying nothing? But then we don't say anything, and we get attacked for hiding things.
I don't think you are.
Like, what are you even talking about?
I think you just need to make it clear what the level of confidence is, basically.
Yeah, except that the top upvoted comment on the discussion around this is that our graphs are already unintelligible to the average person. Our graphs are just bar graphs. If we start adding error bars, like that's the thing.
Are they that bad?
No, they're not. That's the thing that very scientific-minded people don't realize sometimes, I think, is if you start asking for, confidence intervals.
Well, okay, to be clear, I think in order to do that, it would have to appear very differently. I don't think it would have to be a label on a graph. I think you would have to present the information, not even on a graph necessarily, to communicate without words even, but you should probably also do it with words, that this is not to the same level of professionalism as the other information.
How much of our video, look, I don't want to start publishing 60-minute video essays about the merits of some stupid processor.
You're the one that wanted the lab.
It's really interesting to me to see the way my words get twisted against me. We strive to be entertaining. That doesn't mean that we're an entertainment channel. We're still a tech channel where a lot of people have unironically learned a lot about technology. But that doesn't mean that I'm going to compromise on making content that's good.
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm entertained.
Because to me,
it's an entertainment channel.
For anything to be good, it has to be at least digestible. It has to be over a certain bar of entertainment value. And so, no, I don't want to spend 3 minutes on disclaimers, Luke.
Sorry, Runjun in Floatplane chat just said, do the graph in crayon. And I actually love it. It communicates pretty well, but you could even do it digitally so that it's like fairly clean crayon, but still make it obvious like it's supposed to look like a piece of paper with crayon drawn on it. Sorry, you're like all eloquently talking about trying to communicate with an audience and the perception of the channel and stuff, and I'm crayons.
I hate you all.
I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. Sifrin says, the latest AMD video is one of the better videos I've seen. I think I may have aged out of a lot of the videos now. Still enjoy WAN show though.
Nice.
I'm glad you do. Honestly, that
Based
AMD video
viewer.
is not the kind of thing that I want to make though.
This Ryzen video, the most recent one?
Like I'm tired of being angry.
Yeah.
Like maybe in future we don't make that video. I'd like to find a brighter side. I'd like to, you know what I want to finally do? Little Tech Shop of Horrors. We've talked about this a lot of times. Why don't we like actually open an IT shop? Just fucking do it.
People are going to troll you so hard.
We make videos.
It might be worth it. Might be good for content, but people are going to troll you so hard.
I think that we'd probably...
You're going to compete with, what's his name?
Keith from Black Lab.
This guy charged me so much money. You could open... How much of that stuff do you still have left? Do you have any of it left?
We still have all of it.
Just put it in the store. You have a storefront already. You don't even have to buy the convincingly dusty old junk. You have the convincingly dusty old junk.
Oh my God.
There you go. There's your legitimacy.
I don't know, man. Like I want to reconnect with, excitement and fun. And like, I'm tired of being mad and cranky about, this branding or that FPS that's 6% lower. It's
so boring to me personally. I find it incredibly exhausting. Any new thing that I get interested in, I go to try to find the internet community around this thing because I'm like looking for more information or whatever.
And they're always just
every single time it's just hatred and anger, and I'm just like, I don't want to be here anymore. This sucks.
I talked about this in writers' meeting today, and just like, or I didn't talk about this specific part today, but I've talked to the writers about this, about just wanting to be an oasis of positivity and optimism. And we're not going to be dishonest. Obviously, if something's bad, then we're going to say it's bad.
If you're reviewing something, you got to be legit about it.
But I guess what I'm trying to say is I want to be more selective about what we cover, and I want to cover things that I think are cool.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
I think that'd be neat. I'm down with that. You got to be negative sometimes because, like you said, you can't be dishonest about things. But I don't know. I find it exhausting. Hate gets views. People just the whole doom scrolling nature of just like you go on the internet to get mad and stay mad. It's just like
I also think that cynicism is part of no offense to whoever said they had outgrown our videos. I think that cynicism is part of why you might feel that way. Like
one of my problems is I don't watch our stuff.
I think it makes it hard to enjoy anything.
Do you feel like that negativity is a theme on the channel right now? I don't watch. I don't know.
No, but that's exactly it. And I think that it's easy to.
But then is this really a change then?
I think that we can do more. I guess is what I'm trying to say, because even the things that you look at, like what we've done over the last little bit, like this we did because we felt it was really important. AMD bucked a trend that has existed basically forever, where the first number indicates the generation of the product. That to me is unacceptable. Do you know about this?
Wait, what? No.
So their mobile chips will no longer use the first number to indicate how new the product is. That will be the fourth number now.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's worth making a video about. That makes sense.
Yeah.
You still got to do that kind of stuff sometimes.
Yeah, but then this is just working with the kids to fix the gaming minivan. This is checking out an ancient keyboard that We found a picture from the Chernobyl disaster that had this exact keyboard in it. And so Ariel from the lab got it working again, like he did with that weird Soviet mouse.
Nice.
This is something maybe we just shouldn't have covered. So it gets pretty deep into the weeds on what a dual mode monitor is. And maybe we should just leave that for someone else to explain, because to me, it's not that exciting. I think that most people probably don't need it. Do you know what it is? It's basically a monitor with two EDIDs.
Okay.
And the reason for that is that essentially, as far as we can tell, no scaler can handle 480 hertz refreshes at 4K, even at the panel level, because like obviously no input can handle that anyway. So at the panel level, they can't do it. So it has to run in two different modes. It has to run in a 480 hertz 1080p mode or a 240 hertz 4K mode in order for both of them to work natively, essentially. And like, yeah, maybe that just isn't 11 minutes and 46 seconds worth of interesting, and we just shouldn't have bothered. Like this was fun. Just building the CEO computer with that like wild, sinister case. This was really fun. Checking out this hard drive with 25 million computer viruses on it.
Why did you make me build this computer? In that thumbnail looks like one of the toys from Toy Story that was like ripped apart and put together by that kid. I don't know why it made me think of that, but yeah, I don't know. I think trying to bring positivity when you can is a nice thing to do on the internet, because it's just...
Yeah, see, this is tough. Like, Unique Username says, that whole AMD video is the least interesting thing you uploaded on the main channel in recent months. Marketing is BS, always has been, always will, so what? Well...
It's like awareness of a bad practice, though. I respect making that video, like even if it doesn't perform that well.
I mean, yeah, fine, but then, so if nobody says that, right, like, isn't that my job? What is my job, then? Tell me.
On like a very technical level, it's just to like get more views, but I don't think we've ever seen it that way, and that's why you've always resisted VC funding, so that you can keep dictating what you do. And I think what you would probably say you do is like entertaining education about computers and computer hardware and electronics.
Igniting sparks is the way that I like to sort of characterize it.
It's always fun when you go to like a show or a convention or something, and you're meeting audience members, and they tell you about how like you inspired them or your channel. A lot of people tell me that the channel did. I'm like, yeah, cool, that makes sense. To like go to school for computer engineering, software engineering, whatever else. It's like, oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was pretty cool meeting and Munition and her being like, yeah, you like taught me how to build a computer. I was like, okay.
Yeah, like that's sick. Yeah. That's super cool.
That stuff's super cool. Be passionate about your interests and bring us along. I mean, yeah, maybe that's a mission statement for the channel from Run Jun over on Floatplane.
I like that. That's good. Good job, Run Jun.
Yeah, like, and you know what? We've sidetracked some of the stuff that I'm really passionate about because various reasons. It's a lot of work, or we're not sure how many people are interested. But like, maybe I should just say, you know what? Forget it. We're making a video about stereoscopic 3D projection in 2024.
You've always been on the 3D stuff.
Look. Okay, look. Stop.
You carrying that much, though, in my opinion, is a pretty good reason to do it, I think.
Here's why it's cool. Stop. What a f***ing
I'll be a good boy.
Here's why it's cool. Okay? 3D Blu-rays still get released for the... Yes, they do.
What?
Yes. You can get like Despicable Me, at least 3. Hold on, let's see. Despicable Me 4 3D... Or wait, is that one not out yet? Yeah. So you can get the most recent Despicable Me in 3D. Despicable Me 4 is probably coming in 3D, according to this post on forum.blu-ray.com.
Despicable Me 3 is from like 7 years ago.
Okay, hold on. Okay. Blue.
Tynet said in Flowplane chat, if the host is interested, people are way more likely to be interested. If you are interested in talking to somebody about it, it's highly likely they will become interested. I do generally agree with that. One of the problems is getting people to click on it at all.
Okay, new Blu-ray 3D releases this year. Creature from the Black Lagoon 3D came out in March of 2024. Okay? 3D Blu-rays are still coming.
So there has to be some type of a market because technically some of them are being released.
Yes.
Nice.
Okay, so that's something. Okay. Number 2, last year, so not CES of this year, but CES of the previous year, we made a video that got buried because of some dispute between Asus and NVIDIA over what could or couldn't be disclosed about the laptop. Let me just put it this way.
Yeah.
Anyway, the laptop had a stereoscopic 3D screen on it. And it was super, super cool. It was the first justification that I've ever seen of a 4K screen on a laptop. It used eye tracking to change the perspective of every other eye so that every other line was going to the right and every other line was going to the left. And it was glasses-free 3D. And it could like steer, so you could move your head around and it wouldn't break the 3D effect. It was really incredible. Anyway, one of the demos that they were showing was like a middleware of some sort, like some app that you can run that converts non-stereo 3D games to 3D. And so what if you could build like a king tier stereo 3D gaming setup in 2024? Okay, all right. Well, you know what? Whatever. I'm doing it.
Yeah, do it.
I'm doing it. I can already tell you, sourcing a 3D compatible screen, not easy these days. Sourcing the polarizing filters, not easy these days. Getting a 3D compatible projector is pretty doable because pretty much any DLP will work pretty well. Unfortunately, not my Epson LS12000. I have already tested it. And this is going to be at least a 2-part series, darn it, because...
So I know AJ's in the chat. I know today, AJ, we talked about many, 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 many things that we need to do. But at the top of that list, I think you need to make it so that Flowplane live streaming is 3D compatible so that we can see how much we can make that cost.
Okay. And reason number 3 is that with VR headsets becoming somewhat mainstream-ish, I believe there's going to be
a 3D content resurgence.
Wow. With iPhones being capable of recording spatial video. I think there's actually going to be a lot of content to watch there. Got him. I didn't really get him. He's not convinced, but it'll be cool. And I don't think we're gonna.
What if you have like some form of like a time budget for like just passion project content every once in a while?
I just think it should just all be passion project.
All right.
Let's just do away with the stuff that's like boring.
Yeah.
And so you know what this is going to manifest as? If a new CPU comes out and we don't care, we're just not going to cover it.
Yeah.
Which is going to be, I think, a bit of an adjustment. And we've already kind of done it, if you think about it. It wasn't really on purpose.
I think you started with GPUs, yeah?
Intel's 14th gen.
Oh.
We just didn't.
Yeah.
We did a bunch of testing on it. And in the long term, we would love for the lab's website to have charts and everything so you can like know how it performs or whatever. But it was pretty obviously just 13th gen in 14th clothing. And we did a bunch of testing on it. And then it turned out that there was some kind of like microcode update or the BIOS we were using on the particular board we used. Anyway, we had to like retest. So then we did that, but then it was past the embargo. And then we were like, do we even want to bother with this? And while we were humming and hawing, we had the new data, and then Intel released like some software utility that like core steers and improves gaming performance or something, which was exclusive to that generation and was not going to go to 13th gen, even though there was no architectural reason why they couldn't. And then that came out and we were like, okay, so we're going to have to test this a third time for some boring video that no one cares about. And then a little while later, they made that application available to past gen processors in their own lineup. So we would have had to like go and retest those. And we were sitting here going, does anyone forget it? Like, yeah, forget it. So yeah, I think just a chart on a website is going to be the answer in the longer term, and you'll still see them appear in videos. We needed the best CPU at 300 watts, so or whatever,
or for like this game or this application,
or for this particular
whatever.
Game, and so that's why we chose this.
We're building a computer into a van again, and the little man likes to play this particular game, so this station needs to be good at this.
Yeah. That sort of thing. So you'll still see it make its way into the content, but I think that we're gonna stay focused on what we actually want to do. Like, okay, I want to do a convection cooled computer.
Cool.
Yeah, for the theater room.
I'd click on that immediately.
Yeah.
Sick.
So why are we spending a bunch of Justin's time doing something no one cares about, when instead we can like take that idea that someone had on Reddit of like cooling a GPU with like a giant copper chunk, which by the way isn't going to work, but like make a cooler for a GPU that like is like this wide and just takes passive airflow and just convection cools it. That'd be way better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah. Yeah. Speaking of the lab, man, it is pretty exciting to see it finally starting to come into its own. There was a Reddit thread just appreciating the lab. And the thing is that not everyone is going to agree with every methodology, which is why we have always said, guys, that you want multiple perspectives. Some people are going to look at our 720p YouTube endurance test and they're going to go, well, that's not representative. And it's like, well, yeah, it's representative of what we want to know, which is in a best case scenario, which is functionally like idling, but you can't turn off any radios, you can't turn off the screen, everything's in motion. What is the absolute longest that something could last? That's what we want to know. So for what we want to know, that's a good test, but someone else might want to know something else, which is why multiple perspectives are so important and why it's not just one single truth.
Especially
and
for
it never
something
can be
as varied and complicated as a laptop.
Exactly.
There's so many different reasons why someone might care.
So this was a really cool thread to see from Disaster84. Labs is pretty great. So they finally made their way over to the page. And, I was looking at it going, I feel exactly the same way. It is super cool to see content starting to regularly appear on the site, not because millions of people are reading every one of these, but because people are getting really important information.
Well, we still haven't even technically full launched the site.
This power supply, the power supplies that we're testing are alternating. So you'll actually notice there's a pattern. Every other one is from a major brand. And every other one is from a brand that, or a model that appears to be selling very well based on the external data that we can glean from marketplace websites like Amazon and Newegg and wherever else. So that's why you're seeing half of them be kind of random. We have already found 3 power supplies that failed our testing outright across 2 different samples. So this Sama one is another example. People are spending $100 on this power supply on Newegg and Amazon. Both of our units failed during our 20 degrees Celsius OCP test. If your overcurrent protection isn't working, that's a big problem. And so seeing the labs already starting to bring this information to people is so exciting to me.
Can you go back to that Sama power supply?
Yeah.
I was sitting here just rather surprised. I don't do product reviewing and stuff anymore, so I don't know. But I saw all the text under the bad, and my eyes suck, so I couldn't read it. But you were saying it failed.
Yeah.
I thought this was a Seasonic power supply. Look at the logo.
I know, right?
You said SAMA, and I was like, what?
Yeah.
It makes more sense to me when you said that.
Look
but
at this sketchy 80 plus platinum looking 10-year warranty. 10-year warranty? Yeah, so they kind of make it look like, yeah, right?
They make it look like a Seasonic Platinum.
The logos are like identical, but reversed?
Yeah, that's rough, man.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
I don't even think it's reversed.
Casper Explorer goes...
Just a Z versus...
I thought, apparently it says Platinum 10 plus. Yeah, whatever that means.
What?
Oh, no, 10 year. Oh, I don't know. No, I don't know. No, here, let me see what it says.
That's rough, though.
Yeah, here.
I wonder
so they put like a platinum looking thing, 10-year warranty next to the 80 plus gold. Yeah.
80 plus gold is good.
Anyway. Yeah, anyway. Yeah, Casper Explorer says, I thought SAMA was good. Well, that's the point. That's the point of the lab. That's the answer to why we're spending all this time building this thing.
I don't like that.
So we're gonna keep doing it, but I think I want LTT to be fun, and you can get the bad news in a manageable, bite-sized way that doesn't have to be what you like. Sit down on the couch and relax to watch. You know?
Yeah.